You ain't gotta lie to kick in my nigga. You ain't gotta lie. You ain't gotta lie.
What's going on, everybody? After a nice little vacation that Money and I took, we are back with episode 18 of You Ain't Got a Lot podcast. I'm your host, Two Wavy Jason, aka Jason HD.
It's your boy Money. How's it going,
It's been
bro?
good, man. It's been a little
How's
rough.
your Saturday been?
I've been working a lot this week, so kind of a little tired, but I've been hanging in there, trying to make it through the week. But hey, as I always told you, this is the highlight of my week, and you told me the same thing. So always looking forward to doing it. It was nice to recharge, during the off season with the sports being essentially done that we talk about the most. And now we are back right before NFL preseason. We had one game played Thursday. We had the first game of the NFL preseason played Thursday. So for this episode, we're going to keep it short and sweet. We're going to talk about Happy Gilmore 2 recap. Me and Money were basically building up a lot of hype for this movie. Toxic relationships is another one on our list, and then we're going to finish it off with some NFL offseason updates and give our takes on what's going on around the league. So, Happy Gilmore 2 is first. Would you like to take the lead on this one, Money?
Yes. Yes, I'll have to leave for this one. I loved it. I loved it. I loved the recaps to the first movie. I'll say, who was your favorite character? Because Bad Bunny character was my favorite character in the movie.
My favorite character was probably Adam Sandler.
Okay. I'll say Happy Gilmore 2 had a cast of a lot of different, we'll say celebrities. From Travis Kelce to Bad Bunny to the WNBA fans, they had Kelsey Plum. I like that. I remember we had this conversation. They actually had real golfers in this one, like Roy McIlroy. Then they had Post Malone, who's a rapper. They had Eminem. Everybody knows about him. To all the Dolphins fans and Saints fans, they had that boy Reggie Bush in there, boy. I have to hit that Heisman on y'all. Okay. and then and then to all the music artists, they had Kid Cudi. I want to hear, how do you feel about the movie? Because I loved it. I'll say the only part I didn't love about the movie was them killing off the mom. But I thought about it. I was like, they needed to do that because it was the plot of the movie. If they didn't do that, then it was no plot. And I thought it was pretty. I thought it was funny. Like usually, I look at them and the second sequels of movies aren't really that good, but I loved it. I want to hear your thoughts on it now.
Yeah, I thought it was awful. I mean, I hate it.
You
It
didn't
wasn't a
like
good
it?
movie, bro. Like, I
Oh
feel bad. I thought we were on
man.
the same page, but then I hear you like, I loved it. I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah, it was an awful movie. It felt very parody. So what I mean when I say that is the first one, it had its funny parts and went through. The first was a classic, right? This one, it felt like we'll be
Hmm.
on the story and then aliens will pop out and it's like, where are the aliens breakdancing? And then we're back on the story. It was like some of the stuff was going on was like it didn't make any sense to me. I didn't like that. I didn't. And then they tried to reapprise every character that was in the first one with some iteration of like, oh, this is so and so's son now. Like, and then I thought that was stupid. Like, you didn't have to bring back an iteration of everybody's son. Like, I thought that was dumb. Another pointless scene was the whole Eminem being ate by alligators. Like, what are we doing? Like, but I will give it some compliments. One, like you said, they had real golfers in there. I thought that was dope. Um, and another one, my favorite thing from the movie was that they paid a tribute to everyone that was in the first one. They paid a tribute to everyone that passed away that was in the first one. I thought that was really sweet. Nice gesture by Adam Sandler. And a little gem that I didn't catch. I had to do some research and I saw this, but it was a part where Cameron Boyce. There was some
Yes.
people watching a TV show and it was Cameron Boyce, and for those who don't know who that is, he played his son in Grown Ups too. And unfortunately, Cameron Boyce passed away from a seizure in his sleep when I think he was hella. He's like 22, I think, when he passed away. So, but Adam paid tribute to his on-screen son by having a snippet of him in the movie as a cameo. So I thought that was really nice. But other than that, though, Yeah, it was a bad movie. It was really bad.
Man, we're on
Yeah,
different pages because I
I thought it was
loved it,
awful.
man. I was like bad. I felt like Bad Bunny. Like the funniest part to me was Bad Bunny was like he was like a caddy can't have a caddy because he was Adam Sandler
Yeah,
caddy and then Bad Bunny instead of carrying the
you know,
stuff had
half of
somebody
it
else
was.
carry the stuff for.
I mean, it just you just can't do sequels 20 years later, man. Like you touched on it, but you kind of just glossed over it. Sequels this far in advance, they're usually not good, and this one I feel like fell in that category. Sequels in general aren't always that good. Every once in a while, you can catch the lightning in a bottle twice, but then they be like, all right, let's go for a third time, and it never works out.
Okay, let me ask you this: which sequel did you think was as good as a regular the first one?
Next Friday. Next
Okay.
Friday, I thought was just as good as the first one, if not better. So yeah, I thought I like Next Friday a lot. I feel like Next Friday did better commercially than Friday, but people love Friday, and I have a whole Friday take, but we'll get into that another day. But yeah, Toy Story 2 I think was almost as good as the first one. It was good, but obviously not as good as Toy Story. And then apparently they're doing like a six coming out, so I don't know. I haven't seen from two on, so I don't know how the story's gonna correlate. And there's been such a time gap. That's the thing, bro. Time gaps.
I don't think I
Yeah, I
seen
don't think I've
three.
seen three either.
I'd say one and two.
Like The
So
Incredibles, The
that's the only
Incredibles was a
thing
really
that.
good film, and it was so much hype and anticipation about the sequel, and I haven't seen it, so I can't really speak on it,
Okay.
but I think people liked it commercially, so, but typically sequels don't work, man. Sequels don't work. Step Up 2. Step Up 2 was better than the first one. Step Up 2, I got
Okay.
a very hot take. Step Up 2 is the greatest dance movie of all time. Point blank, period. It is the greatest day. I could go, man, listen. You Got Served was cool, but it was cliche as hell. Step Up 2, from the storyline, from the dancing, from the cast of actors and actresses they had in it. If you know who they are, you did your research. It is the greatest movie ever made. Excuse me, greatest dance movie ever made. But that's another, once again, another conversation for another day. But yeah, man, I didn't care for the film. Like I said, the biggest thing that I liked about it was the tribute to the passed away cast members, and as well as having real golfers in it. Because the first one didn't have any real golfers, but they had a guy in there who was the main, rival, and now they're besties. They're
Hmm.
playing together now. I didn't care for that. So then they brought back what's his name, Toby? Oh no, not Toby. Not brought back, but they had him in there, and he just hasn't been the same actor since he was in Sixth Sense. Playing the little kid. And I don't think a lot of people realize who that was actually. So yeah, I was on that.
What did you think about him having his wife and daughters in the
He
in the
literally has
movie?
his wife in every movie he has. He literally has his wife in every
Well,
movie
what
he
did
has.
what did you what? Well, I know that, but what did you think about him having his daughters actually play a big part? Well, at least a big
Well,
part in
she's
these
an
movies.
actress, and since she started one's an actress, one isn't. So the one who isn't had the smaller role, who was like going to the A classes, and the one who is
Hmm.
obviously had the bigger role. But like, I think he just wanted to make a movie with both of his daughters, which I guess is cool when you have the cliche to do the cachet. Excuse me, if you have the cachet to do that. But I mean, it wasn't nothing. I was like, it was sweet. It was sweet, but it wasn't like no, oh man, this is groundbreaking. Because I think his daughter's only acted in his films. I haven't done my research on it, but I don't think she's like this awesome actress to where, oh yeah, but
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I think so. She's only acted in his films because I remember he had a film, and I think it was about her. What was it? Her like her one of her
the
parties or
Jewish one, right?
whatever.
When it's like a
And
Jewish, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I
yeah,
remember
that movie
that.
was
Yeah.
horrible.
So it's funny because Adam
I couldn't
Sandler will
watch
make
it.
a good movie, and then he'll put out like five bad movies. Like one of the worst films I ever made or ever seen was like The Shoemaker or something like that, or
I
I
never
forget
seen
what it's
that.
called, man. It's honestly the worst movie I've ever seen. It's about this dude who he fixes shoes. He's a shoe peddler or shoe cobbler or something like that. And he fixes shoes, but he can put the shoes on if he uses his magic sewing machine and he turns into the person. It was bad. It was a bad film. It's an hour and a half of my life I'm never going to get back. So thank you, Adam Sandler.
What was his last good movie to you? Because I liked Happy Gilmore. You didn't like it. Oh, the second one. So what do you think was his
His
last
last
good
good
one?
one was
Was it
probably
a basketball movie?
I don't think that was his movie. I think he was just a lead in it. If that's his movie, then yes, Hustle will be his last good movie. But I don't believe that's his movie, so I'm gonna say Grown Ups too.
Okay.
Grown Ups too is a good movie.
Okay. Now I know this next part is one of your favorite. Is one of your. It's gonna be real interesting to talk about. I want everybody to talk about and give us, your opinions on our next topic, which is toxic relationships. What do you consider a toxic relationship? Heck, have y'all been in toxic relationships, or were you the toxic one in the relationship?
I feel like most people won't acknowledge that they're toxic. Obviously, if you've grown and healed, then you can be like, all right, I probably shouldn't have poured gasoline on Jimmy's clothes. So you have people who have learned and grown from who they once were, but you have people who are in denial. Like when I was in the dating scene, I would always ask women, what could you have done better in your last relationship? And I hate to say it, but 8 out of 10 of them were like, he was the problem. I had to get away from him. But what could you have done better in a relationship? Nobody's perfect. So, it was that's a big thing. Big thing is acknowledging, like, hey, I played a part in this too. You know what I'm saying? It takes two to tango, it takes two to make a relationship work. But I have like a list of like notes I think are signs of a toxic relationship. First one I have is constant criticism. If your partner's always saying you did something wrong and they rarely give compliments like, money, why you left your drawers on the floor? Money, why you ain't wash that spoon? Money, why you ain't take the trash out? But it's never no, you look good today, baby. They're like no compliments, or it's like five critiques to one compliment. No one wants to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Everyone wants to feel appreciated. Everyone wants to have that acknowledgement. So I think always being called out is not a good sign for a relationship. Another one is blame shifting. If you guys argue about something and he or she says, you know what, it's going to happen if you just did your part. Oh, if you did more of this instead of this. And it's like, it's not my fault that we crashed the car. It's like, what you were driving, texting. That's not the point. The only reason I was texting and driving is because you weren't text for me. So if someone does that, probably another sign that they're not the best person for you. Another one.
Let me ask this on your
Uh-huh.
list. Is someone destroying another person's property?
No.
It goes from clothes to clothes, shoes, your TV, your game system. How do you feel about that?
I mean, yeah, you don't, that's not cool. I mean, yeah, you don't, I mean, you didn't pay for it. You don't destroy it, simple as that. But the next one I have is they're controlling. If they try to tell you what to do, what to wear, how to dress, that's not good. I've seen videos of men online, like, will be at a bar and like you'll see they're on FaceTime with their girl so she can see what's going on. And it's like I don't want to ever be that insecure, one of myself, but in my relationship to the point that she has to FaceTime me so I can see what she's doing because I don't trust her. You need to work on yourself then at that point, or find someone that you can trust. That's crazy.
At that
Yeah,
point, that's why are you in a relationship? I gotta show her everywhere I'm
yeah.
at, like,
And it's like, and it's
or
that's
or,
yeah,
or with women with him. You can find somebody that you don't have to do that. That's gonna
yeah. And
trust you.
I agree. You can find someone. You don't have to deal with that. Another one is extreme jealousy. It's okay to be a little jealous. And when I say a little jealous, like let's say you and your wife out at dinner and the waitress is asking you what you order and you just, you make a joke, she laughs or and then she's like, were you flirting with her? And you're like, no, I wasn't flirting with her. She's like, it just felt like you're flirting. It's like, babe, you the only person I want, okay? Like little stuff like that
Hey,
I think is still a key.
a real toxic dude, a real toxic dude would have been like, yeah, I'm flirting with her.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's dude cannot be serious. He can never be. Y'all, this is me. See, now we're taking it behind the curtain. Flint can never be serious. We'll have a serious conversation, and he has to add a joke in there. It's in his DNA to add a joke. His DNA, excuse me, to add a joke. He just can't help himself. But anyways, moving along, the next sign you're in a toxic relationship is drained and anxious. If the relationship doesn't leave you fulfilled and you always are emotionally exhausted, then that's not a good thing. That's something you should definitely acknowledge. Like if you always like, if you're dreading going home, like here we go. I don't know what the girl gonna say, or here I don't know what he's gonna say. It's that's not a good thing. It's probably not the best relationship to be in. And the last one that my personal favorite, abusive. Ladies and gentlemen, don't let nobody put their damn hands on you. That is one of my biggest deal breakers. Don't ever put your hands on me, yo. Like, I don't care what's going on. I don't care what's said. Don't put your hands on me. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't tolerate a girl swinging on me because you clearly don't care about your life or mine. Like, at that point. So, don't put your hands on nobody. Don't let nobody put their hands on you.
I think it's two types of abuse, though. You got the physical and emotional abuse at
Mm.
that point.
What about you? What do you think of some signs of a toxic relationship?
Man, I got a few things too, man. Uh, I'll say, I'll say one thing. If you're too scared to do anything, say if you're sitting in a car like, dang, I don't even know if I want to go to Walgreens today because she might get on my case about it. I can't go to the movies with the boys because she might be on my case about it. So I'll say if you're too scared to do anything, that's a form of you being in a toxic relationship. I'll say you avoid each other. What type of relationship is it you all don't want to be around
Yeah.
each other? If you see her in the house and you just walk the other direction and she see you in the house, you walk the other direction, you go in one room, you're like, yeah, I don't want to be in that room because she in there. That's I don't think you're in a really good relationship if y'all are avoiding
Right.
each other. I'll say another one. If you are I'll say if you're always forced to defend your partner. You get what I'm saying when I say that?
Mm.
Say if they're always doing something and you're involved with it. Like she say if she goes out there and trips the cashier and everybody sees it and they're like, did you not see Jamie trip the cashier? And you're like, nah, she didn't mean to. She was walking a little too fast. And then another incident, she bumps into somebody, at Dollar General. One every five people, and you're like, come on, man. And now you're like, she had an accident. She just a little clumsy.
Well, it sounds like
It,
a
you know,
bully at that point. Like you assaulting people in public. That's crazy. I think that's a different
I'm
conversation.
just,
She's assaulting
or
people, then yeah, you
or
probably would be
or
right.
or
You just assaulting random people.
or or another thing is, she's always texting stuff, and everybody's like, "Oh man," or always saying stuff. You're like, "Oh man," and you're always trying to defend her. Nobody wants to be in a relationship where you always has to defend your partner.
I mean, I don't know.
I'll say, I'll say another thing. Uh, someone who doesn't care about what you like to do. Say if you're a gamer and you're like, hey, she don't pay attention to that. I'll say, heck, if she was like, you're like, yeah, I finally made it to level 10 on Super Mario, and she's like, I don't care. And then you have another one like, yeah,
She just
yeah,
verbally
I
tells you like, I don't
finally,
care. I don't give a
yeah,
fuck why you tell you. Like,
yeah,
all right,
yeah, yeah. You're like, yeah, I finally,
that's
went
cold
out
blooded.
there
That's
and
don't.
you know what I'm
I
saying, man?
don't
She
give a
just
fuck.
don't
Like,
care.
all
Like,
right,
shoot.
damn. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
back in the
Say,
room.
say, say, say if you say if you went out there, you play sports, and you're like, yeah, I caught the game winning touchdown, and like what?
At that point, she's
Like
a op, bro. She is not. She is not supporting you.
that's what I'm saying. You in a toxic relationship because you dang it doggone up at that point. You're like, yeah, me and my boys finally beat this team. They're ranked number one. You should have been doing other things with your time. Like what?
Kid around here, but yeah,
Like
yeah.
what
You
you
could have
want?
helped around the house. Like,
Yeah,
damn, all right.
yeah. Like like shoot.
And Yeah, that's too far.
Like, dang, you get what I'm saying? Like, shoot,
Not and. That's crazy. You so proud of something that she
and
just sits
like,
for like and. All right, well,
yeah,
we're done here.
yeah.
That's
Shoot,
funny.
you over there crying in the closet now because she
Fact.
don't care. You're like, hey, I've been wanting to watch this movie. I think it's gonna be a really good movie. Nah, I'm good. At that point, you're like, you know
Yeah.
what? You know what? I ain't gonna even get mad. You just go ahead and walk out the door. Probably leave the door open so somebody could take her.
Crazy. What else you got?
So, but I'll say another one I have is well, I'll say well, you had a good one when feeling emotionally drained. I'll say feeling unworthy. You know, you're like you feeling like you're not good enough for
Right.
anything. And I'll say that is a really, really big one. Like she's like, yeah, I got a raise at work, and you just feel she's like, and you know, just feeling unworthy with
Like
everything.
unappreciated. Is that
I'll
what you mean to
say,
say?
yeah, yeah, unworthy, unappreciated, any of those. I'll say, you're feeling. I'll say another one. I'll say, I'll say, you know, hostile communication. I'll say that's a big one because I'll say, you know, you want to be able to communicate with each other, but if it's hostile, it's like, you know what? I don't even want to have a conversation with
Right.
you at this point.
No, that's cool.
So I'll say that's a few things for me. I'll say you touched on a lot of good ones because you said, you know, I'll say disrespect.
Yeah. I got some questions
Yeah,
though.
yeah, that's
So,
okay. Go ahead. I'm ready for
have
'em.
you ever been in a toxic relationship and didn't realize it at the time? What were the signs looking back?
I have to say no.
No? Okay.
I have to say no.
Well, good for you that you went your whole 32 years of life and never been in a toxic relationship.
Shoot, I probably was a toxic one.
That's probably what it is. Like you touched on earlier, it's like either they're in a relationship, they don't know they're the toxic one. You were the toxic one, you didn't know it. But I would say yes. I definitely at the time you don't see it from my experience, but like obviously looking back on it, it was like yeah, it was definitely a toxic relationship. Like towards the end of the relationship, like I was getting joy from upsetting her. So yeah, it was bad. My next,
See, I
yeah,
told you, man.
next one.
You know,
You know what? Go say what you're
okay,
saying.
go ahead. Like I was like, you know, I'll say you might not have thought you were the toxic one, but you really were. I'll say, you know, I really didn't have too many relationships, but um, I'll say this: are we on, you know, we hate each other terms? No. I'll say that's a good thing
Yeah.
about it. You know, I don't think I have a lot of enemies out there from my relationships, but I'll say, you know, I learned and grew from those.
Okay. Why do people stay in toxic relationships even if they know it's bad for them?
They probably love the person. They hope that that person will change.
Yeah.
They probably think, oh, I can't get nobody better than this person, so I'm gonna just have to deal with everything that comes with this person.
I think from my angle, I think it's a little more than I think a lot of people stay in those relationships because they're truly afraid to be alone. Like, I heard a story about this young lady who was in an abusive relationship. And her friend is telling her, like, yo, you need to get out of this. He's not good for you. This isn't good for your daughter to see him putting his hands on you and stuff. And she understood and she recognized, like, yeah, he shouldn't be putting his hands on me. But she stayed in the relationship because she didn't want to work money. She didn't want to get a job and be in the real world fending for herself. She said she would much rather stay in this abusive relationship where he's the breadwinner and he pays for everything, opposed to get out there and have to hustle and get on her own. And it's sad.
Those could be
Yeah.
scary because she could, like, you heard about, like, there's so many situations. You heard about the guy who ended up, killing a woman and her kid, and it's you don't know what can happen in those relationships. It's
No,
sad
for sure,
too.
definitely
We
so.
hear those stories.
It's like you won't want nobody to be in that situation. Like you would rather be in a situation where you're unhappy than get a job and take care of yourself and your daughter. It is very sad.
I have, I have a question
Yes,
for
sir.
you. Do you feel like you've learned from all your
Oh,
different
100%. I
relationships?
try to take something away from each relationship. Like I try to acknowledge what I could have done better and acknowledge how I can grow from it. So that's something I personally always try to do. I always try to be able to be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have called her, a bald head scallywag with no hair in the back. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. So I try to acknowledge my shortcomings in a relationship too, because at the end of the day, the relationship failed because both parties didn't do their part. That's how I feel at least. I feel like if we don't work, it's because I didn't do my part and you didn't do your part. So
I agree.
my next one: can toxic relationships be fixed, or is it always doomed?
I think they can be fixed. It depends on if both. I'll say it depends on if both parties want to
Yeah.
change, want to work on things, maybe go to counseling, maybe have a conversation. Hey, let's write down the things that you do that I don't like and the things that, I do that you don't like, and let's have a conversation and work on those. So I'll say it would take some time, and you all have to come together and make sure that, the both of you all are happy about the outcome of everything.
I agree with you. I think it depends. Like it depends on what level of toxicity are we at in this relationship. Like, are we doing petty stuff like, all right, I'm gonna hide her hairbrush in her makeup bag. You know what I'm saying? Or opposed to no, I'm gonna slap her on her face when she come home. And it's like, all right, he needs help. You should probably leave him, shorty. So I think it depends on what kind of toxicity is going on in a relationship. But I think you can't save it. If you truly want to be a better person and she truly wants to be a better person, or vice versa, you guys both want to be better persons for each other, then I think you can fix it. And like you mentioned, you can get counseling, you can see some professional. There's different ways you can go about it to make it better. And my last question I got is, what advice would you give to someone who thinks they're in one but isn't sure?
I'll say sit back and think about the things they do that make you unhappy. And I'll say write a list. I'll say that's probably one of the best things to do is
The
write it
pros and
down
cons list.
and look at it. Yeah, the pros and cons list, and like, hey, they might have some toxic traits, but they're a good person, and they might eventually change in the
Right.
future. We don't know how. You know, I'll say we people change probably every 10 years, so that person could be a totally different person, or they could be worse. You don't know.
Yeah. I
They could be better or
I would
worse.
I would say ask the appropriate questions. So, such as, do you feel anxious or drained in this relationship? These are the three big questions I think you should ask yourself if you're unsure if you're in a toxic relationship. Do you feel anxious or drained in a relationship? Can I fully be myself in this relationship? And if someone I love was in a relationship like mine, how would I feel about it? What would I say now? And I think those are all crucial. And if your answers to yes to those, then you need to think of an exit plan and find ways to get out of that relationship so you can truly be happy.
I agree. Those make a big difference.
Anything else you want to add to the toxicity relationships?
No, no, not right now. I don't have anything. I think we got it
That
all
was
out the
good. I
way
like that one.
about the major things.
All right, so we're gonna wrap this up, y'all, with some NFL offseason news. First things first, first order of business. Let's talk about the Chargers beating the Lions 34-7. So, obviously it's a preseason, so some of the starters aren't playing. But Trey Lance, or as I like to call him, Lance Revolution, 13 to 20, 120 yards and two touchdowns. I feel like if he has the right people around him that believes in him and supports him and give him the tools to be successful, This is what he can do. This is only surface level. Cause he didn't even play the whole game. This is just the surface of his potential. And I'm so proud of him, bro. Like I still believe him. Like I said, he was never given a shot, and he's going to get a chance to play somewhere next season if he keeps playing like this during the preseason. Because we saw it happen with Sam Darnold. He was a backup in San Francisco, ended up getting a shot. Who was another guy that was a backup? Um, uh, Morena. What is that dude's name? The quarterback, Mariota.
Are you talking about
Mariota was a
Mariota?
starter, lost his job, became a backup, and then got another chance to play.
Nick
Nick Foles,
Foles?
another one. Starter, backup, got another chance to play. And I feel like he never even got a real chance. He played 5 games.
Jimmy
Jimmy
Garoppolo?
G's a horrible quarterback, and he's still in the NFL. I don't know how, but he is. So, yes, I do think he
Hey,
deserves a
Dak at
chance.
one point.
Dak never lost his job. What are you talking about?
Well, I'll say, Dak came as the backup and he,
Yeah,
earned
he
the
earned the job.
job.
Yeah, but he didn't lose his job. I'm talking about like guys who lost his job. And I'm saying
Oh,
Trey
yeah, yeah,
unrightfully lost his
yeah.
job, man. He played 5 games. One he was bad. One he was good. One he played in a monsoon. The next one he broke his ankle. So it's like, and then the other one he came in to fill in after they pulled the starters. So it's like, I don't know how you could hold that against the guy. I don't know how you could play 5 games and be like, nope, he's terrible. He's a bust. We're moving on. So
Oh, Gino.
Gino, yes,
Gino.
Gino had the job and lost it. So yes, it's a lot of guys who get that second chance. So I hope that Trey continues his level of play in the preseason or Lance Revolution and get some spots somewhere else. Any comments or takeaways from that
I'll
game?
say this. I got a few. I'll say there's a few teams I'm gonna start naming, and I'm gonna be on your head if your quarterback's
Mm.
bad. Okay, the Saints. If your quarterback is bad and you had a chance to pick up Trey Lance, I'm on your head. Oh, by the way, the Saints is my buddy Jay. That's his team. So yeah, I got plenty to say to
Jay.
him if the Saints are bad. Yeah,
You gotta get Jay full name because we won't think you talking about me.
not you, Jay. The other Jay.
I know the gentleman. But Saints are awful.
The other Jay. I'll be going the one I go to the crawfish boil to.
Bless his heart.
Yeah, I know y'all gonna have a little rivalry, especially since you're a Panthers fan. I'll say another team that we have to look at is we have to look at the Dolphins. I'll say if Tua's bad and Zach Wilson and Quinn Ears are bad, you have to look at it like, hey, Mike McDaniel had it, and if Mike McDaniel gets fired, you have to look at it like, hey, Mike, you had a
You did have a chance
chance
to get Trey.
to go get a quarterback that knew your system. You stuck with Tua and you ended up getting fired anyways.
Yeah, that would be bad.
That's that'll be a bad look, right? Who's another quarterback needy team you think?
Another quarterback needs team.
What about the
The
Jets?
Jets. I mean, I like Fields there, but they did need a quarterback last season. Aaron Rodgers wasn't the answer. The Steelers obviously need a quarterback. They didn't give Trey a chance. For those who don't watch, I did a whole Steelers rebuild where I played GM. So I think we'll probably do another one before the season starts. That was really fun where I got to play GM. So we may do one more before the season
Yeah.
starts, but it will be a card at the top somewhere where I basically play GM and try and gave my take on how I would fix the Pittsburgh Steelers. But that's another team that can use a quarterback.
Giants?
Giants have a quarterback carousel going on. They took Jackson Dart in the first round, so at some point he's going to be their starter. But my concern is how many quarterbacks have we seen in the first round that sat right be third string? They're
That's
always
true,
at least
but
the
you brought
backup.
in
So either you're going to make him the
yeah,
backup and move Jabo, or you're going to have all three quarterbacks and Jackson Dart's going to be a third stringer, which I think is concerning.
the Colts too.
The Colts also need a quarterback. They have AR-15, but when you have a shotgun in your arm, it doesn't mean it's accurate. It just means it's strong. And then they brought in Daniel Jones, who apparently can't clearly beat out AR. So disaster as well. Minnesota needs a quarterback. JJ McCarthy's unproven coming off a torn ACL, where he averaged
So there's a
22
few
passes
teams we
in
look at.
college. So It's rough out there, tough sledding. A lot of teams need a quarterback and then take a chance on him. Because the thing about it, bro, if you take this chance on him this year and he's bad, you know, one, he's bad. Two, you have a top pick to go get you a quarterback, and there's some good quarterbacks coming out next year, aka Archman.
I would say Cleveland. I would say Cleveland, but they
They
drafted
drafted
Shador,
Sure and Dylan Gabriel.
who I expect to eventually become the
Right, I'm right there
starter.
with you. I agree. I like. I wish he wouldn't have went to Cleveland though, but you know that is going to be his opportunity to start.
I agree.
So we also got some players getting mad, some disgruntled players money. First up on the list, we're going to talk about Terry McLaurin. Has requested a trade. Can't talk. Terry McLaurin has requested a trade from the Washington Commanders. He wants to get paid. He deserves to get paid. 5 years, money. 1,000 yards receiver. It would have been six his rookie year, but he was 80 yards short. And he's coming off his most productive
Scary
season.
Terry. I have a lot to say about this. I'll say as the Commanders, the Washington Commanders. For one, how are you going to say, "Hey, we're a contender. Go trade for Laramie Tunsil. You have this rookie quarterback who had a baller year. You bring in Debo, and you don't pay the guy who helped y'all get to the what was it NFC
Yeah.
Championship they made it to? How? How do you not pay this
I
guy?
hope they don't think Debo's a
He's
replacement
been
for him because he's
consistent.
not. Debo's washed.
I agree. I agree. Debo's not a replacement for him at all. And your quarterback needs. Let's just call it what it is. If you're a young quarterback, you need two really good
Yeah.
weapons. Heck, look at the Eagles who won. They have two good weapons. One is better than the other, but Scary Terry's better than
He's clearly
Debo.
better too. Like AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. For a record too, since we just talked about this, I'll be watching podcasts and listening to this podcast. This is one podcast in particular. It's these bunch of white guys talking football. And it irks my soul every time they talk about him because he says Devonta. Devonta Smith is Devontae. I don't know what's so hard about that. It's Devontae. You can actually Google it how to properly say his name. But it bothers me so much when he says Devonta. Oh, we're gonna talk about Devonta Smith, and it's like, dude, for you to be, this is your job. You professionally talk about sports in the NFL, and you can't pronounce this guy's name right. It's not even that complicated of a name. Like Tua's name, I can understand you messing up Tua's name. You know what I'm saying? But it's Devontae. But yes, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are like this. You know what I'm saying? Debo and Terry are like this. So I think that's a bad move. I do think he's going to end up getting traded. Um, my top
Predictions.
three teams, I think are him. Is number one the Chargers. I think with Mike Williams retiring, he wasn't going to be that great anyway, but he
Did
did
you
have a
see that mock
relationship.
trade?
Huh?
The funny thing is, I seen a mock trade to the
Oh, I didn't see
Chargers.
no mock
Did you
trade.
see
No,
it?
this
You
is
see
all
that
me.
trade? Okay, so the mock trade was Zion. I think his name was Zion, the lineman they drafted last year,
Mhm.
right? And who was that wide receiver?
The lineman they
Johnson.
drafted last year was what's his name?
I think in
Oh, in the second
the
round. I'm about to
second
say,
round.
Joe Alt
Yeah,
ain't going nowhere.
yeah, not Joe Alt, but the one they drafted in the second round. And then Johnson, who hasn't done much in the pros, and I think it was a third round pick to the Redskins for Scary Terry.
Yeah,
Would you take
I
that
mean
trade?
Johnston's bad. I mean, but a lineman you can never go wrong with too many linemen because their line wasn't that great last year. So, I mean, I will be open to it, but yeah. So Chargers is number one on my list. That would give Justin Herbert a wide receiver he needs. You already got Lad McConkey, who was pretty good, and then I feel like the tight end is somebody that's worth mentioning, but I can't think of the name. But you'll have two solid receivers, so you have a legit passing game now. So I think that would be a great fit. Number two is Buffalo. And the reason I have Buffalo at number two, because I expect Keon Coleman to take a step, and Josh Allen is a running quarterback. So it's going to be only so many balls getting passed around. And Scary Terry may not get the opportunity he deserves with this team, but still they need a wide receiver. I think Terry can teach Kean Coleman, who I have real big high expectations for this year. So that could be a nice combo right there. And the last team I have on my list is Seattle. I think Seattle went and paid all that money to Darnold, and then they traded DK. Who they got? JSN. I'm not a believer of JSN. I'm gonna be honest. I haven't been a fan of him since he was drafted that high. He's a decent receiver at best. I don't believe he's a number one, and Terry is very clearly a number one. Another thing about Scary Terry money, you know how many quarterbacks he's had over his career? In his 6 year career,
Eight.
14.
Wow.
And you don't want to pay this man. He's had 14 quarterbacks and he's still productive. He's doing some D hop shit, and you don't want to pay him.
Okay, I got a lot to say about Seattle. I'll say, and then I'll say Buffalo. Seattle. I don't know what Seattle's doing. They let go Noah Fant, and they traded DK. What are they doing?
I mean, they got another tight end there they like. I forget his name, but they have another tight end there that they like over him.
Okay, we'll
Yeah.
see. And then with Buffalo, you got a burner with a quarterback who can dance in the backfield and make something happen, bro. Hey, that could equal
Yeah. Buffalo
magic,
could be a
man.
great fit.
You
I
got
agree.
that dude Josh Allen. Break it. Hey, he break one tackle, scary terror running down the sideline, and he got a cannon too. I don't want to see them together. I'm a Dolphins fan. I don't want to see them boys together. Sure, all I can see is and Josh Allen breaks a
He
tackle,
has a
and
man
Scary Terry's
downfield.
running down the sideline. Yeah,
Yeah. That can be disastrous.
cut my TV off, bro. It's me cut
Yeah.
my
That's
TV
why they're
off
on my
after
list,
seeing
man.
junk like that. I'll say a team that you didn't mention that could be a good fit. Kansas City.
Kansas City, I say no because they have those type of players already. Rasheed Rice, I think, has proven he could be a number one. I think I'm a firm believer in him. Xavier Worthy is on the same rate Rasheed Rice trajectory because last year he started off slow and then towards the end he piped and he had a really good playoff. And if you look at Rasheed Rice, same thing. He started off slow. Towards the end of his rookie year, he piped up. He went off and had a really good playoff. So I think as long as Worthy keeps
Okay.
developing, and obviously we know he can take the top off teams. That's why everyone plays cover three against him. He's the fastest player to ever enter the NFL based on the combine. So yeah, he's a deep threat. Then you have Rasheed Rice as the underneath possession guy. So I don't think he was a good fit there personally.
Okay. I'll say you can't say the Ravens.
They don't pass him
Maybe the
ball enough
Colts.
for Terry's liking.
Maybe the Colts. You say you got a quarterback with a
Yeah,
shotgun. He ain't got to be that too. Hey, he ain't got to be too accurate. He sling that thing
just throw it. He
downfield.
down there somewhere. Yeah, that's one way to go about it. But yeah, so
Close your eyes and sling it.
hopefully it works out
I'm
with
looking
Terry.
forward to this second one. The second topic, I got a lot to say about Dallas. You want me to go first regarding this one, or are you good?
You can go. I got one more over here, but go
Okay.
ahead. I don't think you know I'm gonna talk about this
Go
one.
ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
you want to save it for last? All
Yeah.
right. Tua calls out Tyreek. Tua says
Oh, I
Tyreek
got a
is
lot to say.
working to regain the trust of the locker room after his comments made at the end of last season. And for those who don't know what happened last season, Tyreek Hill got on his soapbox after a not the season they wanted to have, and basically was like saying, "I'm out. I'm done with this team. I'm quoting." So he's like, but he did say, "I'm out." That was the biggest thing taken away. He was like, "I'm out. I'm done. I'm used to winning, and I feel like we're not winning here." And he went from being the biggest Tua supporter to saying Tua's more accurate than Patrick Mahomes, which he has an argument for. But the fact that he was constantly taking shots at Pat, and now you're saying, "Oh well, I don't know what we're gonna do if our quarterback's not consistently on the field." Like he called out everyone, but took accountability for himself. If you're the number one wide receiver and you're a difference maker, you make plays no matter who is your quarterback. That was always my knock against Jamar Chase. When Joe Burrow isn't out there, Chase doesn't play well. But we already had that conversation. But Tyreek Hill has to be the number one no matter who's the quarterback. So that was not a good thing. And Tua addressed it, saying, he's working to regain his trust. He said some things that I didn't like. I think we can do better, and he's trying to do better. Now, Although Tua is correct, he shouldn't have said that. Tua shouldn't have said what he said. I don't want my franchise quarterback calling a guy out in the media. In the media, you're supposed to be like, "Oh yeah, no, man, me and Tyreek are good. You know, we're best of friends." But behind closed doors, it's like, you fucked up, right? Like, we're not good, actually. I need you to, put in that work. And it's like, cool. But to the media with cameras recording, you don't get that sound bite. Not my franchise quarterback. And then Tyreek responded saying Tua's comments were needed. They were needed behind closed doors. Like I said, I don't think that's a conversation that should have been had in front of the media. Now, I'll be honest, money, it's not looking like it's going to be a good season for Miami. I'm very concerned about a lot of things happening in the offseason. I'm concerned about this drama in the locker room already. Your quarterback and your star receiver that you're paying $30 million to have a tiff, as the ladies like to call it. So, what are your thoughts on your team?
I'm gonna say this: if you're a quarterback and you can't doggone stay healthy, and you had your best seasons with this wide receiver, you can't call a receiver out talking about, oh, you need to regain the locker room. The quarterback doggone need to regain the locker room. You always hurt when we need you, bum. You hurt when we need you. And then when you play the end of the seasons, do I gotta bring up the games? Tennessee, dude, always bum out. It's if you're not a quarterback carrying a team with carryability, you can't call nobody doggone out.
Durability.
No, 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 no. I call it carryability, bruh. You gotta be able to have something like Patrick Mahomes has
Oh, okay.
carryability because he can carry that team. Okay, that boy Josh Allen said, "You know what, bro? One, two, three, four." The dude Josh Allen went to the park and found four dudes and said, "Let's go out here and play for the NFL." And he went out there and balled
His
out with him.
receivers weren't good last year. I mean, Khalil Shakir tried his best, but yeah, they weren't good. Keon Coleman didn't know the playbook for most of the season. I found that out. So yeah, they weren't good.
Okay, then you got Lamar Jackson. He's like, you know what, bro? I'll win a Heisman out here doing everything
You know
myself.
what's funny with
I
Lamar?
come out here,
Lamar gets receivers who were good at some point in their career, but aren't good anymore.
yo,
He got Odell, which everyone loved Odell at one point. People were saying he was the best receiver in football. Odell played 6 games for them, I think. Had a couple DNPs in there. So he's done. Then they had D Hop. D Hop was arguably the best wide receiver in football for a stretch. And now they have him, and he's fighting for the number 2 spot behind Zay Flowers.
so it's like let's just call it what it is. Tua, you can't really say much. You don't have no carryability. You have durability problems. You are out here crying, man. The market is the market. When you out here crying in the media, you can't say nothing to nobody in the doggone team. You need to earn the respect of the locker room. That's how I feel about that. And I agree with you. I don't think the Dolphins are going to have a great season because if you look at it, they really like when the Dolphins are out there, they're usually bringing in big time free agents. They basically said, you know what, we're going to trade Jalen Ramsey, bring in Minka. We're going to trade Janu and bring in Darren Waller. Oh, by the way, anybody who know about Darren
He's
Waller,
hurt.
dude was a failed rapper. He was a failed rapper and he hurt.
I won't say he was a failed rapper. I just think he was a nigga with money crying on the mic for 2 hours. So they get they let him go out there because I only heard the one song where he's like crying over Kelsey and like he has like a Kelsey lookalike in the video. It's hilarious. Have you seen it? It's
Well,
it's
well,
hilarious.
I'm gonna say this, bro. That's some garbage.
It was
Okay,
bad.
it was garbage. Okay, I'll say this. Shoot, shoot. At one point, some of us wanted to be rappers, and we had to learn. Hey, I ain't got the talent to do it. Shoot. And hey, he's a ball. He was a baller football player. I ain't gonna even deny it. As a rapper, not so much. You got to go with your talents. And now the dude is like, hey, I'm gonna come back. And he was working on strongman competitions and everything. The dude hurt
Yeah,
now.
he ain't very long.
He on the pup
And for the
list.
record, people who don't know money, Darren Waller is, I think, the first player that money called would be good. So when he came into the league, he was an unproven wide receiver who got moved to tight end, and he struggled with Baltimore. He was bad, but money was like, no, the dude was going to be a stud. And fast forward in his career, he became a stud. So this is a player that's near and dear to money's heart.
And finally on my
Yeah, he's
team,
finally
and
on the
you know
team
what?
after he's passed
Eh,
his
eh, eh,
superstar level.
yeah, you want me to tell you another one who was near and dear to my heart? Pat
That
White.
way, yeah.
Dude got it, not in a concussion. You know, it was sad, man. It was sad. And I'm gonna say this: do I dislike Tua? No, it's just I just don't like how Jay said. There's certain things you say behind closed doors. You don't call out your star receiver because think about this, Jay. Tyreek Hill is what we consider a ticking time bomb. And when I say that, I'm like Tyreek Hill can say, you know what, trade me now, and the whole season becomes ugly for Miami because Tyreek Hill wants out. And then Mike McDaniel, he loses the locker room because at that point, you know, people are taking sides. If Tyreek Hill wants out, the sides are probably going to be between the people who love Tua and the people who love Tyreek
Yep.
Hill. And that could equal disaster for the locker room. Let me ask you this, Jay. How would you have taken your quarterback calling you out? Jay, you need to earn the respect back from the locker room, but he's injured, you know, he's an injury prone
As
player.
a
How would you
professional,
feel about that?
you know that you can't have a public dispute. So if he beats you to the punch for lack of better words, you kind of get got to give it to him. You can be petty and be like, "Oh, well, he needs to do this and that and third." Now you're creating tension, and now you guys instead of talking to each other like men, it's he say she say. So next time you're in an interview, well, you know, so and so respond to what you said last, and then it's gonna boil over and be a problem. So if I was in that situation and I crossed the line first saying comments, and he responded back to my comments, you got to eat that. So I would just be like, he's right, whatever. And then I would talk to him like, hey man, we need to get this sorted out because I don't like what you said, you don't like what I said, but we're teammates at the day and we need to figure this out.
Okay, and I'll say it doesn't look good for Mike McDaniel for Jalen Ramsey to one out. Then you got this Tyreek Hill issue. You bring back Minka, who at one point went out of Miami, so that might be a little awkward
It's a
situation.
different locker room, so I think it's maybe one or two players on that team still there from when he was there. You don't even got the same coaching
Okay,
staff.
that's
So
good.
yeah.
And I'll say then it just puts pressure on the rookies because I'll say this whole situation puts pressure on Mike
Yeah.
McDaniel because it's like if hypothetically Trey Lance becomes a star but you kept Tua, you look crazy.
Had a
It's
chance
a
to get
lot
him.
of
He was
things
available.
for Mike McDaniel. Yeah, and then you were given everything compared to the previous coaching staff. Like I'll say, me personally, I prefer to build through the draft. With Mike McDaniel in Miami, they decided, like, think about all the moves they made. Hey, let's go bring in Armstead instead of develop our left tackle. Hey, let's go get Bradley Chubb and trade a first round pick. Let's go get Tyreek Hill and trade picks for him. And then let's go get Jalen Ramsey, trade picks for him. So it seems like they went from, hey, let's build through the draft to, hey, we feel like we have a coach now and go and do everything
So they
else.
didn't feel they were that
Getting
far
high
away.
priced
That's why
veterans.
they were making those moves. They felt they,
Hmm.
and I agree. I thought they weren't that far away. What was it,
I
2 years
agree
ago or a
too.
year ago? I thought they were going to the AFC Championship game. I had them versus Chiefs. You remember? They were my final four picks. And so I agree with the moves. I thought they weren't that far away. And then it just fizzled out, and then players kept getting hurt, and now players are requesting trades, and now your money's tied up, and you have no draft capital because you're making these right now moves. And so now I think this year is going to be you take your medicine.
I agree. If you feel like you're close enough, make moves, but it's always I just don't think they have enough. Like I think with Tua, you need like a lot of things around him. Like let's just call it what it is. Do you think I'm gonna ask you this question? Do you think Jalen Hurts is a top five quarterback in the NFL skill wise?
Skill wise, um, I would say yeah. I think he was top five on my list I made. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about every top five quarterback. It's Lamar Jackson had the Eagles where he had won the championship.
Yes.
Joe Burrow,
Yes, because he did something similar at LSU.
Josh Allen.
Yes.
You think Tua would have won it with the Eagles?
It's a pretty loaded team, man. I would say yeah, because Tua, if you look at Jalen Hurts' attempts and how many yards, he averaged like 127 yards a game or to 227. It wasn't a lot. So I think if you're taking the ball out of Tua's hand that much and you let him do the things that he did a lot in Alabama, I think he could have. That team was just
I'll
loaded,
say
man.
no. I'll say no. You know why? I'll say no with Tua, and same thing with Matt Stafford. I would say no because if when you're
Matt
watching a
Stafford won
game
with a
versus the
worse team.
Chiefs,
You don't think he would win with that team?
no, no, no. Here's the reason why. Right? They needed his. They needed his escapability. I'll say Stafford now. No, Stafford a few years ago easily
Oh,
yes.
okay.
But I'll say they needed his escapability. Tua don't have that escapability. That's my main
Joe Burrow
thing.
doesn't have
I'll say I'm not
escapability.
gonna. Hey, Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow got enough, magic in the back pocket that he could do something.
I don't know,
And
man. We leave Tua over there because I think
I'll
Tua's a
say,
top 10 quarterback and you don't. So
hey, I'm gonna say this. We didn't even have to ask about Patrick Mahomes because doggone Patrick Mahomes could win with dudes working at Home
yeah, but I
Depot.
will say, as much as I love Pat, he got to show something this year. If he don't go out there and have a crazy season, the conversation for best quarterback in the NFL is open. We gave him a pass for 2 years. He has to. He has to show. His numbers have to show it. It can't be resume no more. You know what I'm saying? His resume is
I
fine if he retires today, but as far as best quarterback in the NFL currently, he has to have a great year.
I'll say I think like I agree with you in some aspect that he has to put up better numbers, but would you rather a quarterback with the I'll say would you rather a quarterback with the great numbers or a quarterback who just wins it when you need it the most? Because think about it, Lamar Jackson's put up numbers. How many Super he ain't been in one Super Bowl. Josh Allen won out like think about it. Josh Allen and Lamar won what they got 3 MVPs between those
Mhm.
two. Neither one of them been to the Super Bowl. No matter how we feel about Joe Burrow, he's been to a Super Bowl. I'll say another one that has the potential to be one of the best quarterbacks. That Washington quarterback, Daniels. He has the ability to be the great quarterback. He took Scary Terry and dudes who we never heard of and went out there and took them to the championship. So I'll say I was just asking, with those different quarterbacks, I didn't feel like all of them were, top five. But I was just asking, different questions to see, how you feel about that Eagles team. Were they loaded? Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I
But
mean,
I'll say,
Devontae Smith is literally his college teammate when he helped him win the Heisman. I mean, excuse me, no, that was Mac Jones he won the Heisman with, but he did play with Devontae though. So because all three of them. Fun fact: a lot of people don't know this. Some people do. It depends on how much college football you watch. Jalen Hurts, Mac Jones, and Tua was all on the same roster.
yeah.
So
Hey, we gotta have the big
yes,
conversation. And I know I know we got a buddy who's gonna be going crazy as a Cowboys fan talking about this. Uh, how do you feel about Mike? We're gonna talk about this next subject. Micah Parsons wants out in Dallas.
Michael Parsons wants out. I mean, first and foremost, before we even dive into this, Mike is not going nowhere. Uh, he put out his official trade request, and 20 minutes later, Dallas put out another comment saying Mike is not being traded. I did see somewhere it was rumored, not confirmed, but it was rumored 22 teams reached out to Dallas after he put in his request for Micah.
Wow. Yeah, I bet Miami wasn't on that list because
They didn't listen to
you
you,
know the
but they
reason
said
why
22
Miami.
teams reached out.
Hey, Miami wasn't on that list. You know why? Because the organization not letting them move draft capital because they might be having a new coach next season.
Yeah, Daniels got to do something, man.
Well, the season after. So me personally, that's what happens when you pay a quarterback uh, superstar money who's not a superstar. Dak Prescott, the dude sucks. Okay, the dude sucks. Okay, hey, I'll say how I feel. The dude, he when I say dude suck, I don't mean based on NFL standards. He's not the greatest quarterback. He got
He should have
paid
won MVP.
higher than he got paid higher than Lamar. He can't hold Lamar jockstrap. All right, the dude's not that good. He should not have been paid the money he got
Lamar has
paid.
one of his
You should have
MVPs.
told Dak.
You do realize that, right?
Hey, you should have told Dak. Hey, you go out there and go to the UFL if you don't want to you don't want to pay on your contract because Michael Parsons is the franchise player of the Dallas Cowboys. How many players you know? I bet how many players you know can probably play defensive end, defensive tackle, any linebacker spot, free safety, strong safety. The dude Michael Parsons could doggone probably play cornerback if he needed him out there.
He's definitely a difference maker. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Dallas is doing. They do this with all their star players. They wait till the very last minute to pay them. But from my
And they
understanding, and
overpay.
then they overpay. So from my understanding, though, Micah had a conversation with Jerry Jones supposedly, and they basically came to terms with what the contract will be. So Micah tells him, okay, cool. My agent's going to call you and we pass everything out. Now, obviously, the agent's going to, talk to them and then confirm with Micah, like, hey, this is what he said, because he can easily call and be like, oh, yeah, we agreed to this much. And he's like, all right, done deal. And then Micah's like, that's not what we talked about. So agent's obviously going to take back with Micah, but the agent reached out. They never got back to him. And then they're constantly calling Mike out in the media, questioning his character and saying, who is his agent? I don't have to talk to him. And they're ignoring his agent's phone call. So, yeah. So he's still holding in, which you got to because the $50,000 they fine you a day is no longer forgivable. But if I'm Micah in my negotiation, so yeah, I'm gonna need $250,000 extra for the pain and suffering you caused me while I was holding in. And Dallas is going to be in a rough spot. They got a new head coach and a new DC, which means they have a new system in place, and Mike is not getting those reps. You can get mental reps all day, but if you're not physically doing it, it's a saying that one of the basketball greats always mention, and he says, "You know the best way to get better at basketball?" And the people kept asking. It was like, "You got to make sure you run 3 miles." He's like, "No." He's like, "Well, you gotta hit the weight room or whatever." He's like, "No." He's like, "The most simple way to get better at basketball is to play basketball. You can't not play basketball and expect to get better." And the same with football. You can't get better at football if you're not playing. You got to be out there. So I think this is a helping Dallas in him wanting to request. I mean, now Washington also said they don't plan on trading Terry, but I don't think Terry's gonna show up, man. Terry gonna eat that money. And but the thing about it, man, 250,000 by the end of camp, that's a solid meal, and that's real money that teams cannot no longer forgive. So on the back end, if Terry does it, he's gonna have to ask for. He's gonna have to be like, "Yo, add that into my deal or whatever," which is what Micah should do as well. But rake him over the coals, Michael. He wanted to wait this long to pay you. Rake him over the coals. I need to be the highest player non-quarterback ever, and I need a little extra for pain and suffering. So
JJ Watt contract is the Micah's gonna probably get more than
yeah,
JJ
he's
Watt.
younger than
Like
Micah.
that. Like think about it. Think about
I
it.
mean,
Jay
Micah's younger
Dallas
than TJ.
always waits. Think about it. Dallas always waits late for everybody, right? Think about it. They waited late for CD Lamb, so now they paying him what 30 something mil now. They waited late for Dak Prescott. Now they're paying him 56 mil. Michael's at least gonna get
Yeah.
34 since they waited so long.
What are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Dallas is just I just don't think they're a great franchise. Like now. They haven't been run good. Like Jerry Jones seems like he wants to be more than just an owner. He wants to be a rock star too. Like think about it. Out of most teams, you can't even name the owners. Who's the Commanders owner?
It was Dan Snyder before he sold him, but I don't know who he is now.
Okay. Who is the Eagles owner?
No clue.
Who is the Giants owner?
I know the Giants owner. It's the because it's been the same family. The can't think of it, but I know who they are though. I've heard the name before.
What about the Bucks owner?
The Glazers.
Okay, I'm trying to think of some teams because I'm like, a lot of out of all the owners, everybody knows who Jerry
Yes,
Jones
you
is
know who Jerry Jones
because
is. Correct.
he want because of how he is, and I'm just saying, we don't know who the Minnesota Vikings owner is. We never heard of the guy, and so I'm like, he's trying to be a rock star instead of just run the team. You gotta understand. Hey, I'll rather let's just say this, Jay. Would you rather pay extra $10,000 for a car, or would you just pay? Say if a car is 20,000, would you want to just pay the 20,000, or would you want to wait extra? Like, oh, everybody's raving about it. Oh man, this car is so
Now the
nice.
value
It
going up
goes up
on
to
it.
it goes up to 30. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna just pay the 20,000 right away and walk away and go on about my day. But Dallas is not doing that, and it's gonna cost them because didn't they pay Diggs, or Diggs haven't been paid yet.
Diggs got paid, but he also took a pay hit. He lost 500,000 because he didn't report to the X amount of camps he was supposed to because he was hurt. So he lost money.
Hmm. Well, you're paying all these players. You're not going to be able to build a
Yeah.
team. And Dallas is overpaying. He's there. They wait to the last minute and pay everybody. That's not how you build a team. And I think Dallas is going to be in trouble. I think Michael Parsons is going to get traded.
You think so? I don't think
And
so.
I'll say yes, yes. Why? Because I don't think they have 34 mil to pay him.
You got to go into over the salary cap.
You're gonna have to cut some players because I look at it like this: whenever you pay your quarterback, you're gonna have to give up some stuff. Like, with the Chiefs, when they paid Patrick Mahomes, they couldn't go get the superstar receivers. They had to develop
Pat
them.
also took a team friendly deal though. He's like the 10th highest
Yeah,
paid
yeah.
quarterback or
Look at
fifth or something like that.
what with Buffalo, right? With Buffalo, when Josh Allen got it paid, you see he don't have them superstar wide
Yeah.
receivers, developing wide receivers. So when you pay your quarterback, you have to cut corners, and I think Dallas might be cutting corners on their defense.
I don't know, but it's funny because Dallas defense wasn't very good last year. You take Mike off that team, they're probably the worst defense in football. So I don't know what they're
Saying
doing. They need to pay him. And Stephen Jones said something that I think was overlooked. He said something along the lines of, do you think we like waiting this long to pay people? No. Deals get done when they get done. Sometimes guys want to wait and see how the table falls. And it's like, oh, so y'all are just getting finessed. Because at first it's like, okay, you're doing it for a spectacle. You want the attention. That way everyone looks at Dallas when you finally make the highest paid. But for you to say it, that means you guys are bad at business. That you're allowing these contract negotiations to get to the point to where you have to pay top dollar. That's ludicrous.
pay a guy a year
Pay them
early instead
early.
of a year late.
Why would you not? Because that means you're getting raked over the coals. Instead of like, because if that was the case, it makes more sense. Like, all right, they're trying to get the most of it. But you're just getting raked over the coals, bro. That's embarrassing.
Think about it. They got a highest paid quarterback, highest paid wide receiver,
One of the highest
with
paid
the next
corners.
highest paid defensive
Yeah.
player. Yeah, at quarters, one of the highest paid, linebackers slash defensive ends next. Come on, man. Dallas is gonna be the new Saints, bruh.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they
Getting
gonna
a
be the new
company card.
Saints. Yep. In 5 years, Dallas is gonna be the
Mm,
new Saints. Watch. They continue to keep operating the way they operate.
I don't know, but the thing is, if you do move Mikey, you gonna get some money for him. You're gonna get about 3, 4 first round picks.
You're gonna get
Yeah, you're
capital,
gonna get some nice
and
capital.
if you're a great draft, think about this. Could you imagine what the Chiefs could do with those picks? Think about it. They traded Tyreek Hill and ended up getting an All Pro
Yeah.
corner.
Slight tangent
So if
too.
you're
I think
Dallas,
last season the Chiefs missed L'Jarius Sneed. I know they made it to the Super Bowl,
yeah,
but I definitely saw in the Super Bowl L'Jarius Sneed was needed.
think about it. Dallas, you trade them, you're gonna have to figure out how to take those picks and find the next Micah or
which is
find the
easier
next
said than
great
done.
defensive player. Yeah, is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? No.
But shoot, man, anything else?
Anything else?
I'm good after that. You got anything you want to add?
Me too. I'm great. We had a great conversation and
Yeah, it's been a
everything.
minute since we put out. Like I said, we took a nice little vacation, and we also were dealing with some technical difficulties that pushed things back. But everything's sorted out. We should be good going forward. If you made it this far in the video, we greatly appreciate you watching. If you're new here, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Please share for us. Send it to someone who wants to hear us talk about these sports and obviously these day-to-day topics we like to talk about. Anything else? Any charitable events you want to mention, Money?
Also, comment. Let us know some topics
Yes,
you all
leave
want to
comments. We're
hear.
very engaged. With
If you
guys in
agree or
comments.
disagree.
Please leave comments. But all right, that will be it for this one. Until the next one, I'm JCHD.
I'm Money.
Peace.